The world economy is at a critical crossroads. Imagine this. China, the world's manufacturing powerhouse, decides to ban imports from the US, sending shockwaves across global markets. The question isn't if this will cause a major disruption, but how the US economy will cope with the aftermath. So what happens next? Stick around as we unpack the potential fallout from China's bold move and what it means for the US. Before we dive deep into the analysis, don't forget to like this video if you are intrigued by the global economic dynamics we are discussing. Share it with someone who needs to understand the impact of this US-China trade war. Let's get started. In the past few decades, the trade relationship between China and the United States has been both a source of prosperity and intense competition, but recent developments are causing alarm.
The United States lost over 3 million manufacturing jobs, nearly a quarter of all steel jobs, and 60,000 factories after China joined the WTO. And we have racked up $13 trillion in trade deficits over the last 2 decades. But those days are over. We will no longer tolerate such abuse. We will not allow our workers to be victimized, our companies to be cheated, and our wealth to be plundered and transferred. America will never apologize for protecting its citizens. The United States has just announced tariffs on another $200 billion in Chinese-made goods, for a total so far of $250 billion. I have great respect and affection for my friend, President Xi, but I have made clear our trade imbalance is just not acceptable. China's market distortions and the way they deal cannot be tolerated. As my administration has demonstrated, America will always act in our national interests.
With the rise of tariffs and escalating trade wars, China is considering taking its retaliatory measures to the next level by restricting imports from the US altogether. This action could significantly affect industries that rely heavily on Chinese goods and, more broadly, disrupt the intricate global supply chains we depend on today. While many people focus on China's growing influence over global trade, this ban could be seen as an effort to assert dominance in the face of US economic pressure. It's a move that could reshape the way international trade flows, forcing both sides to re-evaluate their economic strategies. What do you think about China's potential ban on US imports? Do you believe it will severely affect the US economy, or can the US bounce back? Drop a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on how this could play out. The potential impact of China cutting off US imports is more than just an inconvenience for businesses. The consequences could be severe. Many US industries are deeply intertwined with Chinese supply chains. Tech companies like Apple and Intel would face immediate difficulties as they rely on Chinese manufacturers for key components. Moreover, the agriculture sector is likely to feel the pressure as China is one of the largest buyers of US agricultural exports. With the US soybean, pork, and wheat markets already under strain, a ban could accelerate the downturn trend in exports, leading to price hikes and job losses. Beyond these direct effects, we must consider the broader global economic ripples. The US and China are not just two economic giants. Together, they influence a huge portion of world trade. If China refuses to buy US products, this creates a domino effect in the global economy, affecting countries and companies that rely on exports to China. But China's strategy doesn't stop here. It's not just about retaliation, it's about shifting the balance of power. By cutting ties with the US, China could accelerate its efforts to develop its own industries, further reducing its dependency on foreign imports. In many ways, China has been preparing for this moment with long-term goals in place to make itself more self-sufficient and independent from US trade dominance. While the immediate response in the US would be one of panic, the longer-term solution requires strategic shifts. The US cannot afford to sit back and rely on China for key goods. Diversification of trade partners will become more critical than ever, especially for industries that rely on Chinese-made products. This means the US might need to forge stronger trade relationships with emerging markets in Africa, India, and Latin America to avoid relying too heavily on China. In addition, domestic production might see a boost. However, there is a catch. Many of the jobs that were once outsourced to China would need to be brought back to the US, requiring a long-term investment in infrastructure and skilled labor. What does this mean for American consumers? Higher prices in the short term as companies will face increased production costs. A move toward reshoring could lead to higher prices, especially in tech and manufacturing sectors. The situation is undoubtedly fluid. If China proceeds with a ban on US imports, it could change the global trade landscape. The US will have to adjust quickly, exploring new trade partnerships and innovations to keep the economy stable. Meanwhile, China's growing self-sufficiency could reduce its vulnerability to external economic pressures. So what are the next steps for both superpowers? Can the US manage to find alternative suppliers, or will it lose out to China's growing influence in global trade? Will China's own internal challenges stall its rise, or will it continue to dominate as the world's largest manufacturing hub? As the potential for a China-US trade ban looms on the horizon, it's clear that the world is at a critical juncture. Both nations face unique challenges, but global markets are tied together in ways that make this conflict far-reaching. In the coming months and years, we'll need to watch closely as these two giants navigate their economic futures and decide the fate of their respective roles in the global economy. Thanks for sticking with us until the end. If you found this video insightful, be sure to like and subscribe to our channel for more updates on global economic shifts. Ring the notification bell so you never miss out on our latest content. Your support means a lot, and I really appreciate you watching.